Hey everybody! Welcome back to my Let's Play of Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers. I am going through some things emotionally, so feel like it's time to play some video games.
Gabriel
Thank you.
magnifies the shed skin from Magentia, Moonbeam's snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain.
Okay, so I gotta think about where we want to go next. So we can buy the no, so we have $100, so we can go buy the crocodile mask. Let me do that real quick, and then we'll go to Jackson Square.
Hi.
Hello.
Uh-huh.
I would like your finest crocodile head, please. Give me your crocodile.
Can I ask you just a few more?
I want Willie Jr.
Are you still interested in selling that crocodile mask?
Or you show me $100 and the mask is yours.
What if I just show you the $100 but don't give it to you? Sorry, that's like an extremely bad joke. Alright, well let's spend the only money we have on an old crocodile head.
I have $100. You still want to sell that crocodile mask?
That's $100, sure enough. The mask, it's yours, sir.
Yay. Yeah. It's what I've always wanted. Just like a dead
Here you go.
crocodile
Careful it
head
don't bite you now.
into a mask.
Yeah, thanks.
Just love.
Don't you go forgetting your lagniappe. A free bottle of Master Gambling Oil.
Yes.
The sign said I could get Lady Luck oil instead.
Well, I wasn't thinking a man as young as you would be needing that kind of remedying. But if you having problems with your...
Oh, that's all right. Believe me, I don't need it. I'll just stick with this. Thanks, anyway.
Of course, it ain't none of my business if you do need it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need it.
Of course you don't.
Okay, great. Now we have our disgusting crocodile head. That's fun for us. And central to the plot, but anyway. Let's go see our artist friend. Why do I keep doing this? Oh, there's this, the sexy lady fortune teller is here. This is an ASMR video now.
Come on, boys. Hoopla.
It's an ASMR video about sexy lady fortune tellers. Oh my god. Oh my god, she's dancing. I think she's a fortune teller. Okay, I don't want to talk to her right now. At least I don't think so. Come on. Alright. Hello, friend.
The artist is an able draftsman, but interrogating him wouldn't...
Can I use this icon?
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow, this is great.
Uh-huh. Just don't, like, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Ah, forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and good luck.
Not ready to go to Madame Casmo's house quite yet. We have a lot to do. A lot of plot stuff happening today. Do I have to talk to him or can I just go back to Mosley's office? At this point, like, they know who I am. Sergeant Frick knows who I am.
You son of... Give me back my badge. Now, Knight!
Sure. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
That's
Yeah?
so illegal.
Well, you borrow it again in your history. Now, about today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. Well, he's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning to Jackson Square. Pushing coke? He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. You been present at the so-called voodoo ritual?
I don't know nothing. I told you.
Oh, come on now, you can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look, I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go, man.
Now, you relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were plainclothesmen.
Plain clothes, like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Now, who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. Now, you tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you in the witness protection program. But you have to earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Don't make me laugh. Jesus, just let me out of here.
Now, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
By now they know I'm here. I mean, it's different when I'm supposed to come here. Or if I can send a message. Tell them I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's frickin' useless. Take him back to detain him, would you, Tony? I tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum and damn the civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn! We can only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I might have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. For the book, I mean. Maybe you can punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction, that's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do.
It looks like the lecture is just starting. Gabriel decides to record the session.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa, but the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of the subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems had. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all those spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. The one tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens. bodies of the sick. Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa, and this is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god, Ezruli, the mistress of love, Papa Nebo, or Gede, the lord of death, Agwe, the spirit of water, Legba, spirit of the crossroads, and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
Ugh. I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called Houndfors. Their priests, Hungan or Bokors. Their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a voodoo Houndfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a poto mitan. The ritual circle is prepared with a veve, a pattern of symbols. Each tribe's veve is slightly different, consisting of complex symbols that identify their special Loa. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a Bokor and a Mama Loa, or head priestess. The use of totems or animal masks and markings was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves include the ritual gourd or asson, the ritual knife or kubasa.
That knife gives me the chills.
The ritual whip or fouet cache. And the ritual coffin or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa for specific magical rituals. The Mama Loa is the most powerful figure in any voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the Bokor knows his power is limited. The Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She butterflies, fireflies.
Firelight. No, what is it? Gabriel?
What? I can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No, no, let me out. Help.
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my God.
Hey, this is Hillary. While editing this, I realized that my microphone crapped out partway through recording this, so I am currently recording narration over the footage, and there is no more recordings of me in this episode speaking extemporaneously.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you have walked into my private office, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
So the rest of this episode is entirely Gabriel's interview with this professor character. So what I'm going to do is I'll edit it so I get rid of the empty spaces that used to have my commentary in them, so you'll just hear Gabriel talking to this guy and all the various dialogue options, and I'll see you at the end of the episode. So yeah, enjoy learning about voodoo and enjoy this character.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treats voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. Do you have any idea what Cabri-sans-Coeur means?
Cabri-sans-Coeur? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, wolves, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Tell me about bebés.
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
No.
Fine.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's, very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible if that's the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Azuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Azuli is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Hungan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that the Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Can you tell me anything about this pattern?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back. Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself. Each of the symbols in the veve represents something, a loa, a place. Where did you get this?
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No, you're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this veve is authentic, then?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm, undercover. You can contact me at the St. George's bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this if you don't mind.
Is there anything you can tell me about the voodoo aspects of this photograph?
This is serious voodoo ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph. Except for the corpse, of course. But the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia. Reminds me of certain black voodoo practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks. Up for a few more questions?
Gee, I'd love to.
Tell me what you mean by black voodoo.
Well, like any religion, the beliefs can tend toward positive or negative ends. Can be used for good or evil. Christianity, for example, has its doppelganger, Satanism. Anytime you attempt to set up an icon to explain evil, you invite some warped mind to worship it. The same is true of voodoo. There are those who are drawn by and desire personal power from the darker, bloodier Loa.
Thank you for joining me for this episode. I hoped you enjoyed it, even though it didn't have me in it talking for the... Maybe you enjoyed it more because I wasn't talking in the last part of it. I don't know. But, yeah. Thanks for watching my Let's Play of Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers. And I'll see you next time. Bye!